to send this out first. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. Good evening. Today we're doing a nighttime live. Come on in, come on in. Let me send this out real quick. Happy Thursday. I hope that y'all are well. I'm going to have to turn this fan low. There we go. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. We're going to be having a conversation about your nervous system today. I hadn't talked about the nervous system in a little bit, so we're going to talk about it today as I send this off. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Make sure I get this water. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly, and let me know where you're watching from. For those who are joining, you'll see me with my iPad on today. Hey, Ohio. I've never been to Ohio, but I'm one of those type of people like that will go to random places. But I've never been to Ohio. I wouldn't mind. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette, and I am a human system strategist. And the human species that I focus on the most is the female species, specifically the spirituality, the science, and the psychology behind the feminine species. So women that tend to come to work with me, they get 1 of 3 results, or they get all 3 results. They end up making more money. They end up getting healthier. I used to be 100 pounds heavier, and they attract better community. Okay, and when I say attract better community, this includes their relationships with the masculine. So all of that toxicity in relationships or situationships and friendships, like all that stuff dies because the women that come to work with me get very, very clear. Okay, so I am the woman that successful women come to when they're ready to, how can I say this? When they're ready to install those internal systems that either amplify or sustain, or amplify and sustain their external success. This can look like whatever they've manifested into their space, whether it's marriage, whether it's business, whether it is just life in general. They amplify and they're able to sustain what they have. The reason why so many women are burnt out is because they're unable to sustain what they have because they wore a mask to be able to obtain it. Something as simple as like code switching. Code switching is a form of performance so that you can get paid. It literally requires you to wear a mask. So you become exhausted eventually when you allow yourself to be in a space where you are pretending to be someone else. What happens is probably around somewhere in between the ages, and it's happening sooner now, but probably in between the ages of like 38 and 41, you have what society calls as a midlife crisis. In reality, it's not a midlife crisis. There's no such thing as a midlife crisis. What is actually happening is that you are at an initiation, and you're either going to pass or fail that initiation. Either you're going to continue to proceed with this fake life that's choking you out and smothering you, or you're going to make decisions that are different, that are going to position you for the life that you were designed for. And so that's what happens when you're having this midlife crisis. But it's so interesting because society will make you feel like you have to have everything together by the end of your 20s, by the end of your 30s, and, you know, going into your 40s and all of these things. And it's just not the case. You are consistently, and I said this in my community on Tuesday, you are consistently evolving. You are never going to arrive. This is why when people position themselves to like, okay, I have this goal, and when they get there, they're never really satisfied. They're never really, able to figure out, hey, lovey, they're never ever able to really figure out why they don't feel fulfilled, even though they've been working towards this goal. Well, that's because they thought that they were supposed to feel this feeling of arriving. But that's no such thing. You consistently evolve. That's what's happening in your experience. So women that come to work with me, they are in a space where they are ready to sustain the things that they've manifested. They want to amplify their success, or they want to amplify an aspect of their lives. So today specifically, I'm going to be speaking about how a lot of women have to understand that there's this false perception of stability that's going around when it comes down to women. it's kind of like we're suspended in the air. Hi, Lovey. And I'm going to explain what that means in just a second. Let me move this a little bit. What it means to be kind of like suspended in the air means that you're not falling, okay, but you're also not moving forward. You're just kind of sitting in one space, but you're just like in a state of freeze, okay? Hi, Lovey. So you're just in a state of like freeze. And so you're not doing necessarily bad, but you're not really doing or going in the direction that you really should be going in. This is what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to use a bit. Thank you, Lovey, for these gifts and these comments and these likes. I'm going to give you a bit of science to be able to support you. So again, one aspect of myself and my work as a human system strategist is that I really thrive to explain to women the importance or the 3 things that they're going to need to thrive on this earth. Like, and this is not, these are non-negotiables I'm about to say. Now, you cannot do them if you want to, and I want you to see how that continues to pan out for you, but I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, if you really tapped into these 3 things, you will find yourself coming out of survival mode. You will be more in a mode of thriving, which is going to be very important going into the future, because you're going to have to learn how to create your new reality, because the reality that you have known is gone. It's gone. The way to be able to make money is different. Relationships are different. A lot of the things, spirituality in different aspects, people are moving in different directions. Y'all got to understand that what was working in the old system is not going to work in this new system. And if you don't get yourself in alignment, you're going to get choked out by this. And this is not what I want for women. I want women to really step into the fullness of themselves. One of the things that it speaks about in the World Economic Forum, it says that human creativity is an irreplaceable asset. I don't care how much AI and different things that they're putting out there. You have creative and witty inventions in your very being, according to Proverbs 8 and 12. That means you always have something within you that literally can expand your resources if you are tapped into that. But the problem is society is so loud with the fear-mongering. Society is so loud with all these other things that you can't even hear what's within you. So my position tonight is to support you in understanding where you are so that you can come out of that, because you have a choice to, and you might want to start doing it now. I'm not even like kidding or trying to make it sound cute or anything like that. It's not cute. Most of us live in a society that doesn't care about us. And if you don't start being active and getting active when it comes down to yourself, if you don't take your own destiny in your hands, if you don't master yourself, you're going to be mastered by the society and constantly being in survival mode. So the 3 things that I teach my clients: number 1, understanding spiritual law is very important. That's the only way for you to be able to create your reality. Let me keep it 100% real with you. When it talks about in scripture how there are principalities and darkness and you're not really dealing with human beings, everybody is so caught up in the fact like, oh, these people have all this money, they have all these things, they have all... Those people understand spiritual law, but they use it from the dark element. You can use spiritual law to operate the way you're supposed to operate, or you can use it for your own personal gain and your own personal greed. These are things that people are not really paying attention to, that they really need to start paying attention to. The reason why a lot of people are up and why they are up is because they understand spiritual law. And because they understand it and they use it against us due to our ignorance to spiritual law, that's how they continue to keep us in a slave state, also known as the matrix, okay? So let me explain that a little bit more when I'm talking about spiritual law and what that looks like. For me, that looks like scripture. Now, I can't speak for everybody else. I've studied a whole bunch of different things, but the one thing that seems to be very consistent, everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science, okay? So all of these things, I love it, all of these things, you need to understand and you need to grasp. You don't just need to say when you get pissed off, whatever a man sows, ye shall reap. You need to live that in your life. Because even if you sow discourse, if you sow lies to yourself, if you sow all negative things to yourself, if you speak to yourself negatively, that is all that you are going to manifest into your reality. Because your words have weight. When it says there's power of life and death in the tongue, this is not no small stuff that it's saying. What you say matters. What you say changes perception and perspective, which is what we're going to tap into tonight, because Women need to understand the importance of perception, because hear me when I say this. A lot of you are so concerned about men in relationships, and you don't understand the concept that self-care is the key fundamental of every single relationship, and you set the tone of how people treat you by the way you treat yourself. You should treat yourself exceptionally well because you deserve that. If you do not believe that you deserve that, then I'm not here to argue with your perception of self, because it is your perception of self that makes up the perspective that you believe about self, that creates the patterns for self. And it is your perception, your perspective, and your patterns that create your relationship with yourself and your relationship with everything else outside of you: money, men, and food. See, when women come to work with me, they get elevation in those three areas. A lot of them come to me very successful, giving their money away to men, giving their power away to men, because they don't understand the value of themselves. Thank you, my love, for these follows, these likes, and these gifts. And when they understand the value of themselves, they begin to realize that they don't have to perform in order to be able to get love. They don't have to perform even for pay. And my clients range from a wide spectrum. Okay, I have doctor clients, I have nurse practitioner clients, I have had attorney clients, therapist clients, I have had SMEX worker clients, and all of them, and I do mean all of them, were performing for pay. And see, this is what it talks about in scripture when you try to get the big head and think because if you're the doctor, you're looking down at the SMEX worker. You both are performing for pay. One of you is just very honest about it. The other one is not. That's the reality. So when it speaks about how you should watch yourself when you're judging someone else because there's a plank in your eye, if you're being a slave to a system, you don't get to judge how somebody else is being a slave to the system. If you are sinning, meaning to miss the mark, because to sin by definition means to miss the mark. So if you are not on your mark, even though you are a doctor, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't fornicate, you don't do this, you don't do that, but you are still not on your mark, you don't really have the room to look at this one over here to say that this person is not on their mark. Because if you were on your mark, you wouldn't have time to focus. See, when you are in a marathon, for my marathon runners, for my 3K runners, when you are running, you don't have time to look beside you to see if somebody else is running the race as well. You're focusing on finishing your own race. But see, the reason why you got time to focus on somebody else is because you're not doing what you need to be doing. And these are the things that we really have to start paying attention to. And you wonder why your nervous system is a wreck. You're focused on everyone else but yourself. It's so much easier for you to take care of your children, let you tell it. Take care of your friends and take care of everybody in your life except for yourself, because those are distractions. You tricked yourself into believing that people were going to magically turn around and give you what you give them. Incorrect. Incorrect. So let's get into it today, because your nervous system is not healed. It's just, how can I say this? It's just hostage to your trauma patterns. The nervous system that we have and that we, exude from or operate from when we become adults, if we don't rewire it, we are operating on the same programming as childhood. And I don't care how much therapy you go to, therapists come to see me. See what I'm saying? I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much better you think you are than your family. What you have to understand is that if you don't do the work to rewire your nervous system, you are going to repeat the patterns that are familiar. So no, you may not, be with a man who cheats on you like your mother was with a man who cheated on her the whole time. But you are with a man who completely still disrespects you, and disrespect is disrespect. Dishonor is dishonor. So don't think that you are better than the ones that came before you. Study the ones that came before you so that you can realize the toxic patterns, because that's the third part of this. I didn't even get to that. But the first part is understand spiritual law. The second aspect is this. You have to understand the science of yourself, which I'm going to teach you a little bit of that using thermodynamics today, okay? If you've never heard of thermodynamics, I'll break that down a little bit for you as we get more into tonight's session. But I'm going to use science so you can understand this, how you operate. Because two things you cannot do. You cannot outwit or beat spiritual law, and you cannot outwit your own science, okay? It's just not going to work. So when I'm speaking of the science or the science of yourself, first things first, you need to understand that you operate cyclical. You're not linear. It's not a coincidence that most 9 to 5s really don't work that well for women. The reality is it doesn't, because that's a linear schedule. The schedules that were created, even down to the 24-hour clock, was built on the testosterone. It wasn't built or considering us at all. It wasn't always like that, though. When you go back to the times of scripture, when women were on their cycles, those women were in solitude to release. They were not around anyone. They slept in completely different areas. Why? Because those women were releasing. And when it speaks about a woman being favored in scripture, that a lot of women like to say, like, oh, I'm favored, I'm this and I'm that. You're not favored if you're not in tune with your authentic rhythm. You're not favored if you're not in tune with the truth of who you are. You're not operating in favor. Therefore, you can't even expand what you think that you can actually expand, because you're not releasing, receiving, or rejecting. You understand? When you are on your cycle, you are supposed to be releasing everything spiritually that doesn't belong, mentally that doesn't belong, emotionally that doesn't belong, because you are already physically releasing. If you are not doing that, pay attention to what you are carrying each and every month. Pay attention to what you have been carrying year after year. And ask yourself, are you really, really confused on why you may be having issues with your cycle? Are you really confused on why you may be having issues in the womb? Do you understand, like, when you have things that build up in your body, they build up over time. When your body holds on to things that don't belong, fibroids, cysts, all of these things, do you understand that your body is screaming, hey, I'm not in I'm not in a healthy state. That's why I keep holding on to things. I'm not in a healthy state. This is why I keep holding on to things. I don't have the strength. I don't have the capacity to fight this, which is why it is still staying in the body. The body is designed by the Most High Creator of all things as I can't even explain it, but it is such amazing architecture. There are thousands upon thousands of processes happening in the body that we are not even aware of until something actually happens and we feel like something is wrong. There are so many things that's happening within the body, right? The body is an intelligent vessel. It is designed to save your life. It is designed to fight until it can't fight no more. Do you understand that? So when your body is holding on to things like cysts, fibroids, different things like that, it's telling a story. It's telling a story about you and what's happening in the stress that your body is under. So understanding the science of yourself, understanding that you have a sun clock and you have a moon clock, and you are to live by the sun clock. But in order for you to live by the sun clock as a woman, you have to honor the moon clock. You have a circadian rhythm clock where you have your organs are charging over a 24-hour period. If you are having issues with your moon clock, which is your cycle, 28 to 35 days, 4 phases. If you are having issues with the moon clock, it's because there's an issue happening with the sun clock. There's something wrong with the sun clock that has thrown off 1 of 4 of your organs. This is coming from someone who used to have polycystic ovarian syndrome when nobody was talking about it in 2004, okay? Told me I was going to have it forever, okay? Absolutely not. So the thing is that you have to understand is that when you are not having a cycle, as a person who struggled for 21 years not having one, okay? If you are not having a cycle, this means that one of these 4 organs is off kilter. The heart, the liver, the spleen, or the kidneys. In order for you to conceive, not only do those things have to be functioning properly, but the heart and the kidneys have to be functioning super, super strong. See, this is why when you carry the body, they say the baby takes so much from you. Yeah, it does. So if you're not in a healthy state, of course, certain things are going to happen. Like you're going to lose teeth. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? See, this is why when we are out here talking about creating life, you need to be very clear that you're in a healthy state. We already live in a space where they don't listen to you in a hospital. Can we talk about the truth of the other side of their element? A lot of us are not healthy enough to even carry. Just because you can conceive does not mean that you are healthy enough to carry the baby from the tear you up. See, this is why these things When I say stuff like, before you manifest something like marriage, before you manifest something like motherhood, you need to understand the intentionality, because all they tell you when it comes down to manifestations is in being intentional. You need to not only understand the intentionality behind what you're doing. Thank you, my love. Shalom says you also need to know the responsibility that comes with what you're doing, meaning that it's your responsibility to create a healthy environment for your baby to flourish. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. We have to tell the truth. So you have that responsibility. And guess what? You're held accountable for whatever happens with that child once that baby exits your womb. See, if you really thought about what went into motherhood and what goes into marriage, a lot of women would really, really pause and assess themselves to see if that is really in alignment with them. Because a lot of you are just out here moving on emotions, no intentionality, no responsibility, no accountability, and wondering why your scenarios end in demise, wondering why the divorce rates are so high. People don't understand when you're walking down an aisle to an altar. Altars are for sacrifices and for offerings. A lot of you don't understand sacrifices and offerings. A lot of you are not prepared to sacrifice and offerings. You want the fullness of doing what you want to do and still being under the covering of someone else. It doesn't work that way. When you join bloodlines, you come under that. See, this is why y'all really need to be asking yourself if that's what you want. You understand what I'm saying? You really have to be very, very honest with yourself, and making decisions without understanding the science of yourself and understanding everything that comes with trying to manifest some of those things. You need to pause. So it's very important in order for you to thrive. Hear what I'm saying? It's in order for you to thrive in motherhood, you have to understand the science of yourself before you even get started in that, because you have to assess yourself to even see if that's truly in alignment with you. Seriously. Because there's a lot of mothers and wives that hate being mothers and wives because they feel scammed and they feel lied to. Partially true, due to the programming that a lot of us got growing up, right? So understanding the science of yourself is going to be the second thing that's very important. The third thing that's going to be extremely important is, like I said earlier, studying the generational psychology of the women that came before you. Stop judging the women that came before you and find the loopholes and the gaps. Find the voids in the things that cause them to repeat certain patterns so that you can take an understanding of that without judgment. And so you can make sure that you are closing those gaps within your life to not repeat those patterns. Because as much as you think that you are better than them, you are a lemon tree. You're a lemon that comes from a lemon tree. You're not going to be an apple when it's a lemon tree. That's not going to happen. So you have to take ownership for who you are. And see, we live in a society where women are shamed for operating in the fullness of who they truly are. But if you're operating according to your design, that's where you're actually protected. That's where you actually can sustain what it is that you're manifesting. When you try to pretend to be something in someone else is why you lose everything that you keep putting your hand on. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So understand those three things are very important if you want to thrive in this world. And you have to understand that this world, this society depends on you being in survival mode. They depend on you being in survival mode because it's easier for them to make you a slave because you have to submit to their systems. But if you submit to the one that created you, you don't have to submit to those systems. You literally are submitting to the truth of who you are. And the truth of who you are is how you manifest and sustain the things that you desire. This is how you get in tune with the creative and witty inventions in your very being, according to Proverbs 8 and 12. This is how those very gifts make room for you. This is how you're able to stay in rooms because you operate from law and integrity. When they say things like men who are really successful in business don't do business with other men who cheat on their wives, there is a code of integrity that happens when you move up in certain spaces. I know we only get to see celebrities in their drama and the perversion and the different things that they involve themselves in when they compromise themselves. But you need to understand that there are a set of people who don't compromise, who don't play, and who literally look at it like this. They understand that marriage is a power tool. It's a wealth building tool. And if you're willing to mess up the money in the scenario with somebody you lay with, who am I? So you need to understand that going forward, and I'm telling you something right now that I really hope that a lot of you grasp, because this is the truth, and a lot of women don't understand this. Character is going to be the new currency. I've said this, I said this last year, but I'm gonna make this real clear right now, and I'm gonna explain it a little bit. Character is going to be the new currency in the next 4 years. You know why? Because things are gonna get so different. Things are gonna get so interesting. The world that you never knew, okay, the world that you thought you knew is going to be gone, and you're going to need community. What I've been telling y'all since January 2025, what's the two things I've been saying that you're going to need to be focused on and building this year? I told you that you're going to need community. I told y'all this in January. I told you in February of 2023 that all of these jobs was going to be lost. The video still sitting on YouTube. Video went viral. That's how I even started making money on YouTube, because I cried on that video about the vision that the Most High had given me. I told y'all in February of 2023 all these jobs is going to be slashed. I told y'all in February of 2023 all this stuff was going to happen. I hate being right about that stuff. I didn't even want to come on there and say it. But it is what it is. What people are not understanding is that if you don't get in alignment with what it is that you're supposed to be doing, you're going to position yourself to become prey. And the quickest way for you to become prey is for your nervous system to be wrecked. Because if your nervous system is wrecked, you are always worried. You are always in an anxious state. You are always functioning, you're high functioning anxiety. You're all these different type of things, right? And but here's the thing that you're not realizing that's a big connection to that. The reason why you're in a state of anxiousness is because you lack belief. You have no faith. That's the truth. Because to worry about something means that you have a lack of something, which would mean you believe in lack. And there is no lack in the kingdom. So I don't understand why so many people call themselves believers, but you don't believe. Do you understand what it is that you are saying when you say that? Your words are weighty. Your words are weighty. So you're in an anxious state because you're worried about not having money, not being able to do this, not being able to do that. When in reality, you never, ever really went without. Things always seem to work the way they are supposed to, but you're allowing society to put this fear-mongering information into your chest to the point to where it makes you sick. Do you know society knows that if you get so riddled with anxiety that you will ruin your spleen to where you have IBS? That's why IBS, one of the things that they say, oh, you need to lower your stress. You need to lower your stress. They tell you that, but they don't really tell you how to do that. The way that you lower your stress is that you elevate your belief, and the way that you elevate your belief is for you to become rooted in truth. And that's going to require you to decide what's going to be the truth for your life. Because whatever a man sows, he shall reap. So if you sow words of, I'm not going to have, this is what it's going to be, then that is going to continue to be your reality. It literally tells you in scripture, like, everybody be talking about mindset work and emotional intelligence and all these things. Y'all do understand all these things are basically codes that are written in scripture. You really could read the scripture before you could even, how can I say this? You can activate the scripture in a way before you even have an anxiety attack. And I'm telling you this because I have worked with women who had serious anxiety. I'm not even kidding. You just have to make some real decisions. And a lot of times women don't like to make decisions because women struggle with finality. They struggle with finality unless it's finality in the direction that they want it to go in. Hi, Lovey. And what women have to understand is that finality is a part of every reality, because death is a part of every reality, and birth is a part of every reality, and rebirth is a part of every reality. You literally die and are reborn every month as a woman. You're not understanding that concept and wanting to hold on to things, hold on to ideas, hold on to people, when you literally are a walking example of what it is to release, and you are walking detachment. You detach. If you're not having a baby every month, when you have this cycle, you're just detaching this. You are walking detachment. So the fact that you allow yourself to be attached to things of this world, including people, especially men, don't piss me off. Come on now. You don't know how to master detachment. You are walking detachment. Grow up and understand that if it ain't aligned, it ain't mine. You shouldn't be fighting for y'all. Come on. Come on, because I ain't even finna do it with y'all today, because y'all gonna have me on here for 2 hours, and I'm not. Listen, can we not? Can we not? Okay? You are walking detachment. You have boundaries literally on the inside of your heart. Do you understand that? Do you understand that there is no such thing as a heart attack? The heart defends. Do you understand that? Ask any nurse if you don't believe me. Ask a nurse. The heart is nothing but a dumb muscle. It obeys. And so guess what? When something comes as a threat to the heart, you know what it says? Fight back, fight back, fight back. The heart is attacking what has entered in there and started with them. Do you understand that? When it speaks about guard your heart above everything else because from it flows life, that's not a joke or a game. You can die from broken heart syndrome. Don't you understand that? How many hits you think you can take being in them toxic back-to-back relationships? You, at some point, you have got to understand that finality is a part of every reality, baby. And when you start looking at relationships, this is a great analogy I use for relationships. When you start looking at relationships like they are revolving doors. I love a good revolving door. I'm so childish like this, right? I love a good revolving door. I'm going to get in it. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to dance my way all the way around a revolving door. I want you to think about a relationship as you and someone else going through a revolving door. This is what you need to understand and you need to grasp. Somebody got to get off. Somebody got to get out first. You understand? Somebody got to always get out first. Do you hear what I'm saying? When you in this revolving door, somebody got to step outside first. Some of us are going to have people who step out in death. See, let's speak on it. You understand? Somebody leave it first though. You're going to have some people who going to step out of there and still not going to be in your life. You understand? But you need to remember that somebody is always making an exit. It might be you first or it might be them. And you have got to understand and grasp that nothing on this earth is forever. Everything has an expiration date. Understand? This is why the Most High tells you in Romans 12:2, stop being attached to the things of this world. You got to confirm your mind and transform your mind every single day to remember that a lot of this stuff, everything is temporary. There's a YouTube video I listen to every morning that is basically Ecclesiastes 3:1 that reminds me about time. There's a time to hate. There's a time to love. There's a time to live. There's a time to die. It reminds me to stay in divine timing and understand, don't take my time for granted, to steward my time properly. It's about 2 minutes long. I listen to it every single morning to keep me in the mind frame of understanding I'm not here to waste time. I'm not here to give away my time because time is my highest form of currency while I'm on earth. As a woman, you have 5 sacred currencies. You have more, but these 5 are key that you really need to steward while you're in this society. Number 1, time. Number 2, energy, your emotions. Number 3, your attention. Number 4, money. You are walking money. Number 5, your beauty. You are here to steward these things. You're not here to let these things get drained or ran up. Okay? We have got to really get secure in our beliefs and rewire our nervous systems because, like I said, this society depends on you being ignorant to the fact of what they're trying to do to you. They want to keep you in a state of exhaustion. Their goal is to spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, okay, exhaust you so that you act out physically. And when you act out physically, you know what's going to happen? They're going to lock you up in them new things they building. That's computerized. Oh, they're going to lock you up. And I'm not just, you think nobody's going to be criminals? Let me tell you something. You ever seen a desperate person? My mother always says a desperate person is a dangerous person. First, it's going to start with stealing from the stores. Then when the stores don't continue to stock up, then they're going to start coming in your house. A desperate person is a dangerous person when it's time to feed their children, when it's time to take care of their families. You understand? There's not enough police for that. Police listen. I'm trying to tell you something without telling you something. You better get rooted in the truth now and get rooted and regulate your nervous system now, rewire it now so you can execute, because you're going to need tunnel vision for what's coming. They're going to be throwing everything at you. You think you're exhausted now. We are in year 1. They have a deadline. I ain't going to say what it's on because they're going to block me. They're going to ban me. They're going to ban me. But I'm telling you, get yourself together. Get yourself together. A lot of you are sitting in spaces where it appears like, okay, I'm not falling, but I'm okay. I'm just sitting right here. You are suspended in the air and you need to make a decision. It's time for you to move. It's no more playing these games. Most women, you're like, oh, I need healing. I need this. I need that. You need to release the freeze. You need to get yourself out of that state of freeze, because what you're calling peace by ignoring things or avoiding things is actually emotional paralysis. Okay? You're not calm. You just cut off. You got detachment when you want to. You detach. Oh, girl, something happen every day. I don't even watch the news. So you can detach, just not from that man. So you ain't got no problem with detachment, because you could detach from what's happening in your environment. But you mean to tell me when it comes down to detaching people who drain you can't get rid of them? It's not making any sense. You're not regulated. You literally resign. You just given up. And because survival is your baseline, that's how you thrive. That's how you live. You feel like this stillness, like, okay, I'm doing all right. Like it's success, when it's really suffocating you, because you know you're not in the right position. You know you're not in the right position. That's the thing. Sitting still without emotional capacity is not peace, beloved. It's unprocessed trauma dressed up in self-control, like you got it all together. You still performing. Still not being genuine. It's literally a freeze response with good makeup and high functioning schedule. That's it. That's what it looks like. It looks like stability from the outside looking in, but in reality, it's simply, how can I say, it's suspension. It's you just literally sitting in the air and not moving. You didn't heal. You halted. You stopped. You didn't heal. So let me tell you how there is an unseen cost to stillness using the 4th law of thermodynamics. I told you I'm a nerd, right? So I study scripture, I study science, I'm a human system strategist, and I focus specifically on the female species because, when you mess with the feminine or the female species, it disrupts everything. Even from the start, when you go back to the story of Adam and Eve, old boy knew to use the snake to get to the woman, because if I could get to the woman, then she can weaken the man. If I uproot all the feminine trees, the female trees, then yes, all this pollen is going to go everywhere. Everyone's allergies is going to go nuts, and I'm going to create allergy medicine and have people come and do all this stuff and take all these tests, when the reality is this is happening because I disrupted the feminine. I disrupted order. They ain't gonna tell you all that though. They're gonna give you some more medicine. Okay? But let's talk about thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is a branch of physics, which I love to study. I love physics, metaphysics, quantum physics, baby physics is we right here, okay? Because if you understand the science of yourself, you can understand not to violate yourself. So anyway, so thermodynamics is a branch of physics, and it studies how energy, heat, and work interact, particularly how energy moves and transforms within a system. It explains why certain processes happen or don't happen, how energy changes form, like from heat to motion, and also what limits exist on those transformations. Excuse me, I gave an example yesterday of that with coffee and cream, but today I'm using the 2nd law of thermodynamics, the law of entropy. So if you want to catch that live, go ahead and catch that over there because it's sitting there on YouTube. But today we're going to talk about the 4th law, which is specifically focusing on stillness for those of you who are just kind of sitting in one spot. So the 4th law of thermodynamics basically reveals the unseen cost of stillness. And the law of dynamic basically states that if two systems, thank you, my love, for these gifts, if two systems are each in a thermal equilibrium with a third system, then they are all thermal equilibrium with each other, okay? So they're all in one space with each other. One example of this, it's going to sound bad, but it's just the truth. If you are, thank you, my love, for these gifts. If you are opening your body to somebody who is giving their body to somebody else, y'all are in a thermal equilibrium with each other, whether that is voluntary or involuntary. If you are in a space where you are laying with somebody and they are laying with somebody, you are all laying with each other energetically, whether you realize it or not. And you are picking up what is being put down, okay? And that can result in a multitude of things. Hi, lovey. So let's talk about it from a metaphysical aspect. In another way, if you are not in equilibrium with yourself, if you are not in balance with yourself, you cannot sustain aligned relationships, money, business, or love. You literally are going to attract at the temperature you are, not the one you desire. You are going to attract at the temperature that you are, not your desire. When your internal system is numb or dysregulated, every single external system that you connect with, hear me now, money, men, food, meals, mastery will either freeze you further or burn you alive because you just can't take it. I'm going to say that again. If your internal system is numb, okay? If your internal system is irregulated, okay? Every single external system that you touch, from money to men to your meals to mastery, will either freeze you further, okay, or burn you alive. One or the other. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. For example, if your internal system is numb or dysregulated, and let's just say your external system of choice is your meals, everything you eat is either going to keep you at that weight plateau or keep you at that weight that you are not comfortable with, going to keep you in a state sitting right there, freezing you further, not moving you forward at all, or it's going to burn you alive by destroying your life and destroying your health. That is a very, very simple example. If you can't get control of your impulses, then you will continue to jump in relationships and jump into bed with men quickly. You will continue to impulsively eat, and your money will continue to be sporadic because it seems like it burns a hole in your pocketbook because you can't hold it. You got to impulsively buy. All of these things are connected, and all of these things are a clear indicator that you have no control over your energy and motion, which is your emotions. And when we don't have control of our energy and motion, that means that we have no control over our thoughts. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I got a solution. And this is what we need to pay attention to because we're supposed to guard our thoughts. Okay? So, like I said, your internal system, if it's consistently in a state of numbness or dysregulation, every external system that you're connected to, money, men, meals, mastery, will either freeze you further or burn you alive. And instead of you recognizing what's actually happening, like recognizing the actual mismatch, you'll blame the blessing for triggering you. And you won't even realize that your nervous system is literally still being held hostage by emotional instability masquerading as discipline. A lot of women do that. A lot of women do that. Will blame the blessing and say that the blessing is triggering them when the reality, your nervous system is still being held hostage. Like this is when you start self-sabotaging experiences. You get the healthy relationship, the healthy friendship, or whatever you've been seeking, and then you start sabotaging it because instability is really the core and the vibrational state of your nervous system. So if it's not the drama, you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to sit in the experience. You don't know how. It's crazy to me how many women don't know how to be bored. It's crazy to me how many women don't know how to feel comfortable in a state of boredom. And what a lot of women are misunderstanding is the fact that you can't sit in boredom. And I'm going to just tell you the 100% truth. The reason you can't sit in 100% boredom is the main reason why you can't lose weight. Because losing weight, as a person who lost 100 pounds, get into it. Losing weight is boring as hell. The process, let's talk about it. Okay? It's boring. You have to eat the same boring meals. Oh, you don't want to eat sweet potatoes and ground lamb and vegetables and beans? Oh, you don't want to eat that all the time? Or you don't want to keep doing the same or you want to keep doing the same workout split every single week because you thinking it's boring when it's really going to curve your body completely out the way you want to be curved out? Oh, you don't want to consistently have rotating menus and stuff like that? You don't want to do that because it's boring? Boring builds the body. You understand? Boring also builds the business. Oh, you want to be a six-figure multi-millionaire, whatever, when it comes down to your corporation and your company. Oh, you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You got to change it up in your business, even though this is what you have been doing consistently that has been bringing in the cash flow. And you think you should switch it up because you have gotten bored? So you going to break the bank because you got bored? When boring builds the business? Boring builds the relationship? Boring builds the body, all the stuff you say you want, but you can't sit in what is so-called boring. You have to have some element of drama. You need to deal with that. That's trauma. That's real life trauma. You don't know how to sit and really receive without it being some form of a ridiculous attachment to it. Unless it comes with some form of pain. Why is that? Have you ever thought to actually ask yourself, why is that? Why do I need that? Why do I need someone to go off on me for me to actually start doing some work? Why do I need somebody to break up with me for me to decide I'm going to take back my life and I'm going to level up? Do you ask yourself, like, why does that have to happen like that? Why do you have a reactive execution identity? And see, I talk about that in, which course did I talk about that? Not in the physics of rhythm, and Finish What You Start. And Finish What You Start, I break down the physics of feminine follow through and how a lot of women mess up because they have a reactive execution identity. You only move when somebody do something wrong to you. You only move when somebody's pissed you off. You only move when somebody done left you. And when you rock bottom, you done got fired. Why does it take that? Have you ever considered that? That's your nervous system that needs to be rewired. Because you don't know how to work unless somebody did something crazy to you. And that's insane. Okay? So let's get it back into it. So a lot of you are not, the inconsistency that you feel like that you have, you're not inconsistent because you're lazy or anything crazy like that. You have the inconsistencies because you keep chasing regulation through adrenaline, not alignment. So you only move when a fire is lit under you, not when it's divine timing and when you're supposed to move. That's you moving out of wisdom when you move from a space of alignment. A lot of you never had discipline. A lot of you just had dopamine survival, to be honest. And I'm going to tell you this emotional trinity of perseverance that I created to be able to support me and to support clients when they find themselves in this space of not being able to really persevere because their nervous system is just like shot. So we have to go through this process, okay? The women who are going to be able to keep going, because let me just tell y'all, they're not done. I'm trying to see how I can say this without getting banned. And I want to say this correctly. I'm going to try to speak it in code a little bit. There's a deadline. There's a deadline. There's a deadline. The reason why, you know how you are hearing, oh my gosh, it's only been a year. All of this stuff is happening so quick. Yada, yada, yada. I can't believe they've done all this in a year. Have unwritten this and done that. Hold tight. There's a deadline. There are certain things that have to be done by this deadline. Okay? I want to say this the right way. Let me say this the right way. In an honorable way, but in a very truthful way. And in a way that is going to awaken and bring awareness and not fear. Because I don't speak from fear. I'm going to paint a scenario. And I want you to grasp what I'm saying. I want to purchase this expensive car. I'm talking about the most expensive car of all time. I want to purchase it. I want it for myself. And I'm buying it from a previous owner. Okay. Now this vehicle, it also comes with a lot of land. Pay attention. Okay. It comes with a lot of land. I really, really want this land. I have the money for this land. There are other people who are up for negotiations, negotiating for this land and for this amazing car, right? So everyone is bidding on this, but I'm the one that's in the lead. So I'm the one who wins the bid. And because I win the bid, before I win the bid, now that I won the bid, I say, I don't like the way this land looks. Clean it up. I want it to look like this. I want it to be lined like this. I want this to be available to get on it. I want this, and I want you to take all of this off, because that way it'll run, or it'll be exactly the way I want it to be. I want you to make sure with this car, take all this stuff off. All this extra stuff that you got on this car, reset it back to factory. I want it back to the bottom, to the basics, at the bottom of the map. That is what I want. I'm talking about strip all this stuff off. This is not luxury. Take it all off. I want the base of this car so I can design it in the way that I intend to design it. Because that is what happened when you sold it to me. That was the agreement when you sold it to me. And I want this done within the next 7 days. And when it's done in the next 7 days, I'll be there to pick it up. Put a 1 in the comments if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. When you're selling assets, they normally have a number attached to them. Okay? When you're selling, when you know, it's a deadline. It's a deadline where certain things have to be taken care of and have to be done, because I want things run this way because you sold it to me. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And then I'm going to give you this trinity of perseverance. And then I'm going to tell you what you can use to rewire your nervous system so you can be rooted, so you can be clear, okay? So you can hear, so you can know how to move. Okay? All right. So the women who are going to be able to keep going without being spiritually, mentally, emotionally exhausted, okay? They're going to be the ones who are emotionally architected. Emotional mastery is not going to be oh, that's just, I need to work on my emotional intelligence and mastering my emotions. No. You either going to be a master of your emotions, or your emotions are going to master you, and you're going to be in big trouble. And they have it set up. Why do you think for 1 second that all these pilots where certain cities and certain areas are getting attention, they're getting extra support, right? They ready for a breakdown. Y'all think these people leaving these areas that they're being sent to? No. They right exactly where they need to be, just in case, not just in case, but when chaos ensues. Because have you ever seen a desperate person? A desperate person is a dangerous person, babe. Folks don't stand by. Do you understand? They don't stand by. For when, not if. For when. Because people get exhausted. When you have to hear the cries of children and you can't take care of things. Listen. Perseverance is going to be extremely important, because you need to focus on what you need to focus on. And women need to be self-sufficient, so you can get your bags up, so you can get your paper up, so you can be clear, so you can make the moves that you need to make when it's time. Okay? Whatever move that needs to be for you and whatever time that's going to be, you need to have the capacity, needs to be ready, and your emotions can't be easily frazzled. You can't allow society to be up and down with your emotions and playing on you. You got to be rooted in the truth, because you're going to see a lot of things. You're going to see a lot of things. Okay? So let's get into how you can focus on becoming emotionally architected. All right? All right? So number one, the trinity of preservation. Number one is resistance. Okay? Resistance. I need you to reject what feels familiar but is no longer safe. A lot of women are a lot of women are going to become prey to men. And a lot of you are going to see the savagery in men. You already are starting to see it in some aspects. I'm horrified at seeing how a lot of the men are celebrating that women are going to be losing, SNAP benefits. And that isn't, I'm not on SNAP, and I have been on SNAP before, baby, because when I was in undergrad, baby, listen, that's how I ate. Okay? So the way that I'm seeing TikTok videos of men glorifying that and basically saying that SMEX is going to go down to $40 again, they're ready. The men who should have never had access to any woman because natural selection got caught up and women started just giving access to any and every man. A lot of these men did not deserve to even be here, let alone have lineage. But the savagery in them is coming online and saying this. They are ready to exploit your vulnerability. Do you understand? They are preparing to exploit your desperation. They are preparing for you to not have faith in the one that created you and not tap into your gifts so you can go lay down for $40 or for a place to lay your head. Do you understand? I'm every decision you make from this point on for the rest of this year, I need you to know you are either positioning yourself for poverty or to become prey, or you are positioning yourself for forward progression. I am trying to warn you, and I'm not speaking from fear. I'm speaking from you see the material. You see what's going on. So I'm going to go back to it again. All them date situationships, all that, a man coming back to me. These folks homeless. These folks are emotionally homeless, spiritually homeless, and they're going to wreck your home because you just got to have somebody in there because you are not comfortable with the presence of your own self. You just got to have somebody in there. They are spiritually homeless. They are mentally homeless. They are emotionally homeless, and they're going to wreck your home. See, one thing that you have to understand about the masculine is this. The masculine is never comfortable living on the feminine or even asking the feminine for help. Let me tell you something. Men who are operating in masculine won't even tell you they have a problem. They'll hide from you before they tell you they got a money problem. They'll borrow money from their homeboy before they give you a money problem. They'll go give plasma. They'll ask another girl who gonna give it before they tell you. They'll go get it from the one who like to give it out and come give you the money. And you see it all the time on these apps, how women be saying, oh, I'm paying all the half the bills and he taking half the money he going to take care of. Oh, girl, listen. When a man is operating his masculine energy with you, he ain't even going to try to get you, asking you for no type of help. He's not going to bring his problems to you. They don't do that. Now, the ones who need a mama do. The ones who need a mama, they going to do that. The ones they need help, they going to do that. The one they need a warm body, they going to do that. Okay? So these are the things that you have to pay attention to. So when I say this trinity of perseverance, the first aspect is resistance. You need to reject what feels familiar but is no longer safe. And playing in that little scenario, that ain't safe. See, a lot of them going to start getting in these situationships, they're going to start getting y'all pregnant on purpose. I don't think sometimes that women don't understand that men will try to get you pregnant on purpose to humble you and humiliate you at the same time. And if you are not operating from a space of discernment, you will be desperate enough to do yourself in. Because as much as people like to be like, well, if you didn't want a baby, why did you do this in me? Let me tell you something about men. Men are short-term thinkers. He wanna get this off. He wanna release, sweetheart. You just happen to be the bucket. I don't care what he said when he was dumping the bucket. You'll push anybody out the way when you about to pee on yourself just to get to a stall, and you'll take any stall when you really gotta go, won't you? See, when you really gotta pee, let me go back to how I used to cut up. Because y'all know I'm from New Orleans. I'm talking about when I used to get lit. When I used to get lit, and you really gotta go to the bathroom, you pushing through any and everybody, finding anything, any way for you to be able to get to that bathroom. I don't care how disgusting that bathroom is, baby. I'm gonna squat and do what I need to do to get this out of me, especially if I'm full of it. Back then. So you were just a bucket. He let off. You have to understand your value, because to a lot of men, you're nothing but a bucket. A man who is untamed sees you as nothing but a bucket for him to empty in, and that is what he's going to do. Exactly. Squat if you need to, period. So again, if you want to persevere with what's going on, reject what feels familiar but is not safe. I need you to say no even when your body screams yes out of your trauma muscle memory. For my workout girls, we are very clear on what muscle memory is and why muscle memory is so important, especially when we try to grow them glutes, aren't we? We're very clear on what muscle memory is when it's time to grow those glutes, when it's time to do all these other things. We know exactly what muscle memory is. Well, guess what? You have trauma muscle memory too. When your body start yearning and she start purring for something that she knows is poison, you're going to have to tell yourself no. You're going to have to deny that aspect of yourself to show that you have control of self. Self-control is the fruit of the spirit. If you can control yourself, then you can control the environment. See, these are the things that we have to start paying attention to. So if you want to persevere, beloved, let's start with resistance. And I ain't just talking about you getting online, talking about how these set of people are doing this and doing that and resisting and boycotting Target. Girl, boycott them, your body. Boycott that peen, that pipe that you can't seem to release. That means you no good. That is literally poisoning your pathway that children come from. That wealth is created in that space. Reject that. Resist that. Boycott that. Everybody want boycott that. Because I'm going to tell you what gets on my nerves. And I'm going to just keep it real with you. I don't like the way y'all let people push PrEP down y'all throat. I don't like the way that y'all allow people to push birth control out down your throat. I don't like the way that you allow society to pimp you like that, all because you don't know how to close your legs. All because you don't know how to use that creative ovulation energy to actually execute something great. You let them pump you full of things because you have no self-control over that cat. That's sick. Do you understand that? And then you get online and you ask women like who are mastering themselves like me, so what do you do when it comes down to sex? Here's the thing that y'all don't understand when you begin to ascend and do your work. You know how to use that energy and not waste it, because you understand when somebody's pumping on you, they taking from you. They ain't giving you nothing unless you're in a scenario with the masculine and it is spiritually aligned. He ain't giving you nothing. He taking from you. He taking from you. Are you kidding me? And then you wonder why your beauty leaving you and all of that. Child, please. I wish I would let myself get drained and be looking ugly because I can't control myself because I gotta have pipe. Girl, you need that paper. You need community. You need pipe. Girl, piss me off with that. To resist is the first key to perseverance, okay? Please. Resist what feels familiar but is no longer safe, because that is going to be a noose around your neck. As all this stuff, I told y'all these people on the deadline. Girl, I wish I would get knocked up and pregnant. Are y'all kidding me? It need to be no kindergartners in the next. By 2030, it shouldn't be nobody going in the kindergarten class. Nobody should be going. It shouldn't be no kindergartners. That's how real it need to get. No kindergartners. They looking like, oh, they really, yeah. Because y'all are giving lineage to people who bloodline should die off. How dare y'all perverse your bloodline? Girl, and wondering why you get to see the Chucky. Let me go to this second one, because I've been on here too long with y'all already. I told y'all I'm going to be in here long. Here y'all go. The second a part of the trinity of perseverance outside of resistance is regulation. Okay? It's to stay in rhythm when nothing is exciting anymore. Yeah, you lost your first 10 pounds. Oh my God, what do I need to do next? Girl, do what you did to lose them 10, to lose them other set of 10 3 more times because you're trying to drop a high 40. Stop trying to switch it up. Girl, I need something else. Girl, eat that chicken, that rice, and them beans. Eat them green beans, that broccoli. Girl, eat that and eat that consistently because you need to build muscle. You need to eat nutritiously. They already poisoning you with the food, feeding you a bunch of crap. And you wonder why you coming around with autoimmune diseases and all these different things. They're already feeding you crap. But no, stay in rhythm, okay? Stay in rhythm when nothing is exciting anymore. Boring builds the business. Boring builds the body. Boring builds the relationship. Y'all don't know the build. Y'all don't want to build boringly, but y'all want to build men up and give them all your energy, your time, your energy, your attention, your money, and your beauty. You can help build him up, but you can't be boring to build the body you want. You could give him 20 chances, but you can't be in the gym 20 times. And girl, don't piss me off. Are you insane? Please be for real right now. We be lying so much. I'm not consistent. You consistently checking that man. You consistently checking that profile of that girl that he keep looking at, that he keep liking her posts. So you trying to really see what's going on. You consistent when you do that. You're a consistent stalker. But you lack consistency. You don't know how to be boring. Ain't that boring? Constantly over there waiting to see what's going on. Girl, let me see if he like her. That is so boring. You ain't got nothing else to do. What is going on? Again, regulation. Stay in rhythm when nothing excites you anymore. Learn how to sit in that relationship, baby, when it's healthy. Oh, we be bored. Girl, do something else. Put on a new wig. Girl, entertain yourself. You're boring. You know why you're boring? You have no imagination. You're boring. That's the truth. You know why you don't know how to sit in boredom? You're so boring. You have no hobbies. You have no life. All you do is work, talk about men, watch men, stalk other women. You're boring. You're boring. That's why you can't sit in boredom. That's why you can't do the same thing over and over again. That's why you can't lose the weight and body recount the way you want to, because you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and again. Girl, perseverance, baby. Regulation is number 2. Let me get back because y'all done got me off task. Stay in rhythm. Please stay in rhythm, my God. Stay in rhythm when nothing excites you anymore. Choose structure over stimulation. Choose structure over stimulation. Somebody put in the comments, structure over stimulation, guys. If you can understand that, I just want you to, okay? I love y'all back. Structure over stimulation. See, if you meet somebody and they just talking about stimulation and you ain't seen no structure, wrap it up. Wrap it up now. Cut it off. Okay? Structure over stimulation. You want to stimulate me, which could result in somebody else coming here, and you don't have no structure for us to even raise this somebody in? Oh, baby, they shouldn't even get your attention, let alone stimulation. What are we talking about? What are we doing? See, if you really looked at things like that, it'll stop you from being a fool. Structure over stimulation. Because I'm trying to understand how you allow people who don't have jobs or any form of structure, any form of anything set up in their life, how you allow them. See, and this is my thing. If you talk about stimulation and there's no structure, Your priorities out of order. I already know you a deadbeat. I already know you loose with your seed. I already know all of that. Because how you coming is on some stimulation and you ain't got no structure. The masculine is structure, so you in the feminine? Oh, I don't like men in the feminine. Oh, say lie. There's nothing attractive, okay, but a man in the feminine. My God, today. So please choose structure over stimulation. That's number 2. And that's not just for dating, that's for you. Choose structure over stimulation. Baby, if you want to spend money, okay? I'm not telling you not to spend no money. But what I'm saying is have a structure set up so you, when you spend money, it's stimulating and you're not in an overdraft. Have a structure on how you're going to spend the money. Have a structure on how you're going to... You have a divine structure, okay? Operate by the 4 phases of your cycle. Operate from your... The reason why a lot of women are not stimulated, they're not emotionally where they need to be is because you're not following your own structure, your own design. And that's why nothing ever really stimulates you for real. You're never really fulfilled. Gotta start paying attention. Let's go back to the 3rd part of the perseverance trinity. That's really important. Outside of resistance, regulation, there's also return. Okay? Return is bouncing back without beating yourself up. Because y'all are doing a horrible job at that. Y'all talk so crazy to yourselves and wonder why you attract people who treat you crazy. You cannot talk crazy to yourself and think you're going to meet somebody who's going to love on you. It's not going to work that way. You're actually cursing yourself. You understand that you are to love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's one of the highest commandments. So that means you're supposed to love yourself first before you even think about loving somebody else. So what do you mean you talk crazy to yourself? What do you mean you're beating yourself up after you make a decision or you make a choice and it doesn't work out exactly the way you thought it was? So you're going to beat yourself up? But then you just beg God for forgiveness for 30 minutes crying in church and all of that? I'm trying to figure out if the Most High threw it in the sea of forgiveness. Why do you keep swimming into the sea to pick it up? I didn't know you were a scuba diver. Because if it's in the sea of forgiveness, that means you don't have to go all the way down to the bottom. I did not know you had the lung power to keep swimming like that, when in reality you don't. Which is why you are suffocating, because you keep beating yourself up. So return. Okay? Return. Bounce back without beating yourself up. When you make a mistake, okay, you had a cheat meal. Okay, that one cheat meal is not going to knock you down. You going to keep eating? You going to keep cheating? Like, come on back. Okay, we all lose our way. Come on back. Come on back to the house. Re-engage your rhythm after rupture without making it your identity. We love to make things our identity when stuff happens. Girl, I don't know what happened. Girl, I was doing so good. It's the story right here. Girl, I was doing so good with my journey on weight loss. And then this happened. I hurt my knee. And I just could never come back after that. I just hurt my knee. And that's what happened. Girl, you making this hurt knee your identity. Baby, come back. Come back. Okay? I slipped and fell really hard in July, right before I got on the flight to Miami, because I'm hard-headed. Right before I got on the flight to Miami, I slipped and sprained my ankle terribly. And I had been doing strength training for since January, months. And my body's really curving out, doing what it needs to do. I was so sad at first that I could not work out the way I needed to work out. And guess what? I needed to return. So what did I do? I started finding other ways for me to be able to get my body together. I made sure that I was eating within my calorie deficit. I was eating nutritious meals. So I was making sure that I wasn't putting on extra weight by eating crap. I got the Pilates bar, from Five Below, and I started doing that, and I started doing more Pilates. I started doing strength training with my arms. I found other things to be able to do. Thank you, love. It's better now. Praise the Most High. I found other things to do because for 3 months, that took me down. I'm just now coming back to where I can do cardio the way I want to do cardio and stuff like that. That took me down. But had I been like, oh my God, ever since then, I ain't been able to work out. That's just my story. No, I had to return back to the house. This is not about to become my identity. I'm not about to be stuck here. And here's another thing. If I would have kept that mindset, guess what? I would have stalled my healing. Do you know that? I would have stalled my healing. Because I wanted to be lazy. I would have stalled my healing process. But no, I was stretching. I was using my ankle and writing the ABCs. Like, I'm doing the things that I need to do. I'm not staying in the space of sitting there. And I'm not making this my identity. Your nervous system doesn't need to feel better, okay? It needs to feel safer staying in motion without the adrenaline being its engine. Like you're only driven when somebody does something or when something crazy happens or when the news says this and this and that. That's not the way it works. I'm going to give you, and I talked a little bit about this in my other live, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the emotional infrastructure of follow through. Okay, so let me be really clear about this. Most women don't lack ideas, they lack infrastructure. A lot of women have ambition, but they do not have the architecture to hold that ambition. If you want consistency, okay, but haven't earned, the stability of rhythm. And I want you to think about it from a perspective of a skyscraper, right? So when you think about a skyscraper, think about a city that has a really, really nice skyscraper. I think Chicago is a good one. If you think about a skyscraper, if the foundation shifts 1 centimeter, I'm talking about even just 1 centimeter, the entire structure is going to sway. If one element in the foundation shifts, that's going to shift the entire skyscraper, okay? A lot of women have been trying to scale or grow or become bigger or do great things without having the structure, and that's why success is making them sick. This is why you have women who are at the top who are sick, y'all. Because the foundation ain't right. When I first started, I told you I'm a human system strategist. I focus on the human species specifically, okay? And specifically the human system. What I see from women who are at the top, these women are sick. They're sick in their wombs. They're sick with autoimmune diseases. They're sick with a bunch of stress illnesses because their success has made them sick. She got everything she wanted, but she couldn't hold it because she was sick. Because there was no rhythm for her to receive that. She had to work against her rhythm to be able to obtain that. What a lot of you need is not another plan. You need an exit. And I talked about this earlier. You need not a reactive execution identity, but you need an execution identity that's rooted in rhythm, not reaction. Okay? And I want you to hear what I'm about to say because these stats are going to get even crazier. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, 1 in 3 high-achieving women report chronic burnout, anxiety, and physiological symptoms of a trauma response, okay? Even while appearing to be regulated. A lot of these women look like they're doing fine, they're doing good, but on the inside, anxiety is eating them alive, okay? These are the things that we need to pay attention to. Now, I have 2 ways to be able to support you in coming out of that. Well, 3 actually. Well, 4 actually, but I'll run them. So the first one that I would tell you is that if you are in a space where how can I say this? If you want to be in a space where you're reading articles where you get to express or to help you kind of like express or help you regulate your self-containment, if you don't anchor your nervous system in rhythm and regulation, you'll keep performing for peace. You'll keep leaking power through perfection. You'll keep calling survival success. If you want to come out of that, then I suggest that you sign up for my paid Substack, the Black Sanctum. Okay? Now, if you are in a state where you know you need to get in alignment with your sun clock and your moon clock, if you know that you are completely out of rhythm, you don't understand the 4 phases of your cycle, you don't understand how your sun clock and your circadian rhythm clock operates, then you need to probably get the Rhythm of Physics bundle, okay? In the Rhythm of Physics bundle, you're going to get the Physics of Feminine Follow-Through, which is the Start What You Finish class that's going to teach you specifically the scientific way using the laws of motion how you can execute any single thing that you start. So if you're a person who starts and stops, this is going to help you stop the start and stop cycle, okay? Because immediately when you get in a space where you're going to stop, I have a framework that you can use immediately to pull yourself out of that so you can start working back exactly what it is that you're supposed to be working on. And it is perfection. It's literally science. And like I said, you can't fight the science. A lot of it was rooted in how can I explain it? A lot of it is rooted in the physics of how you operate. It's a class about physics. Yep. And then also, so we have the rhythmic woman class that also comes in the bundle of the physics of rhythm. And when you get the rhythmic woman class, you get to learn about your sun clock and your moon clock, your circadian rhythm clock, your infradian rhythm clock, your nervous system safe execution identity, soft scheduling that feels like liberation and not labor. These are the things that you're going to walk away with. A full nervous system recalibration that's going to support you in understanding how you operate, how to rest, how to make money, how to make sure you get the nutrition that you need. You learn all of that in the Rhythmic Woman. So that bundle comes with those two classes. It comes with the workbooks that are extremely powerful. So if you are struggling to persevere, scientifically, that's going to get you back on track. Everything that I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. I'm giving you the full science of your feminine design and your feminine physics so you can execute. That bundle is $444. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. You can click the link in the bio to get access to it. It is an amazing bundle. Those two classes, the reviews that I have gotten from them are absolutely insane. Women have been able to really get themselves in rhythm and get their hormones back on track. Because when you get the Rhythmic Woman class, that is teaching you how to get your hormones back on track. Because I'm teaching you about your major hormone team, your superpower 4, that you need to be clear on. A lot of you don't understand that you shouldn't be taking melatonin. You should not be taking melatonin. One of the reasons why you cannot sleep is because you are continuing to look at your phone. Do you know that blue light blocks melatonin? Do you understand the difference between red light and blue light? Do you know when you are to put on red light versus be looking at blue lights? If you don't know that, you're throwing your sleep off. If you're throwing the sleep off, you're throwing your cortisol off. If you're throwing your cortisol off, you're stressing your body out. Okay? And you learn all of that in the Rhythmic Woman class, which is in that bundle. So like I said, it's $444. You can click the link in the bio to get access to that. The last thing that I would offer you, or the second to last thing I would say I would offer you, would be the Red Knowledge Tree. Okay. Now, the Red Knowledge Tree is where you get the sacred and secret information that I don't talk about here, because I don't want to get banned. So I have a Substack called the Red Knowledge Tree. I would say that the Black Sanctum is the dark feminine aspect, and the light feminine aspect with the lessons and different things like that, and the spiritual intelligence and the sacred currencies of women and how they are protected and all those different things are in the Red Knowledge Tree. You can get that for $22 a month, where you get letters every single week. You get it for $222 a year, where you activate and you get the seduction files, where I tell you how society first started seducing women, where that came from, and how to make sure that you're not being fooled in that space. Okay, so you get those, you get your sacred currencies, and then you get a lot of different videos and access to different things that most people don't get. So that's $22 a month. You get $222 for the year. Okay. The only other thing where I feel like it could support you, do I have it up here? I think I do. Is because people ask me all the time, and I don't talk about it a lot, but you can find this on Amazon, the workbook that I created. Retiring the Cape, the Radiant Path to Flourishing, Releasing the Strong Woman Myth, Trading Burnout for Alignment to Build a Life of Lasting Value and Fulfillment. I'll give you a rundown of kind of like what the chapters are looking like in here so you can see if this fits you. The first chapter is going to be Breaking the Chains of the Strong Woman Myth. The second chapter, and this is a workbook you actually work through. It's a book and it's a workbook. Okay, so the second chapter is the hidden cost of overperformance. The third chapter is the dismantling the hustle culture lie. Chapter 4 is redefining strength from survival to softness. Chapter 5 is healing wounds of the worn out woman. Chapter 6 is living in alignment, the SMEPS model in action, which is a model that I teach women that supports them in being able to elevate spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, as well as socially and financially. Okay. Chapter 7 is where I focus on true generational wealth. It's not just about money, and I break that down. Chapter 8 is why playing it safe is killing your purpose. And chapter 9 is flourishing beyond the myth. Okay. So this is for a woman who wants a fast track to alignment to get herself together. You can click the link in the bio and you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Kindle, or you can get the actual physical workbook itself. And you can click the link in the bio to get access to that. So what questions do you guys have for me? Because I'm about to get off here because I've been out here lengthy. So I'm about to get off here. So what questions do you guys have for me in regard to tonight's session? Make sure you click the link in the bio to get access to these things. Sign up for the Red Knowledge Tree. If you want to know more sacred knowledge and you're in a space where you're open and you're ready to receive, the Red Knowledge Tree is where you need to be. If you're in a space where you need to get out of the shame and really face the dark aspects of yourself, sign up for the Black Sanctum because it's $44 a month. And for the Black Sanctum, if you are struggling with the masculine, if your issue, because you only know what your real issue is. If you're struggling in your relationships and your inability to be able to discern and stuff with the masculine, you really should go over there to the Black Sanctum because it's going to support you in setting yourself free. It's going to support you in not guilt tripping yourself and feeling guilty for the scenarios that you put yourself in. It's going to help you to become extremely firm on when it comes down to standing on business. Okay, so if you really want to stand on business and not just be talking about standing on business, then the Black Sanctum will help you get activated in that ASAP. The Red Knowledge Tree is going to give you the knowledge that you need to be able to continue to thrive. Okay, so what questions do you guys have? If there's no questions, I'm going to let y'all go. Make sure you click the link in the bio to get access to any of my products or services. I have courses there. I have a lot of different avenues where you can work with me, okay? Or get access to information that can really support you and transform your life. Like I said, the women that come to work with me, they get 3 results. 1 of 3 results. They either make more money, they get healthier, or they have better relationships in community. They have better relationships with the masculine. So yeah, those are some of my consistent results. Hey, which one can I do to get out of survival mode? Plus, I just left my job because anxiety was too high. Okay, so sweet lady, what I would recommend for you, to be honest with you, would be the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint. The Magnetic Wealth Blueprint is going to help you deconstruct. It's going to help you get activated. You're so welcome, love you. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, formidable figure. Good to see you. Yeah, it's going to support you. You're going to get deconstruct and refill your cup. So it's going to make you support you in getting rooted spiritually. You're going to get wealth alchemy, which is going to teach you how to train your nervous system so you can be able to set yourself up for wealth. You're going to get passively paid, which is going to teach you how to make passive income. You're also going to get intelligence to income, where I'm teaching you how to package your intelligence in a specific way so that you can price your packaging and your products at a high price where they pay you top dollar for that, okay? You also get the power of your feminine design in that. And then also one of the biggest things that's in that course that women love is loving the nervous system. That supports you from not allowing your dollars to be drained by somebody that's dusty, because you have mastered the art and the science of detachment. Therefore, you can discern if somebody is a dust mite that's trying to drain your dollars, okay? So if you struggle with that, and it's no shame. None of what I'm saying, like none of this is to shame you, but you know what you need to work on. If you know you're not good with discerning men, you really need to get the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint. Because if you make all the money in the world and if you don't know how to discern, these people will continue to come into your life and drain you. You have to deal with the real issue at hand. You have to deal with the root. So if we're having survival mode issues in any way, whether it's in life, whether it's in love, whether it's in relationships, the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint is going to be the one for you. You can get it with Klarna Firm, and Afterpay is $333. You get a masterful results. That one, I've been wanting to take it down, but people keep emailing me about it saying how amazing it is. So I won't take it down. I've been trying to take it down for about 2 months. Y'all won't let me. Okay. Thank you so much. Sound like I need that one. You're beyond welcome. Which one would be best suited for me? Future MFT with a fashion background, wanting to work with women who are high functioning as well. Tell me what MFT is. Is it marriage family therapy? Is that what that is? Because I want to get clear. before I speak? Okay. So if you're a marriage and family therapist and you have a fashion background and you're wanting to work with women in regard to, are you wanting to work with them in regard to how they relate to themselves, or are you wanting to work with them about how they relate to themselves and how they relate in their relationships? Because in a way that you can connect fashion with that would be simply this. Of course, we all know when we look better, we feel better, right? When we present ourselves at our best, we tend to show up as our best. We tend to be a lot better when it comes down to operating in the fullness of ourselves and at our best. My recommendation for you based on those would be, it wouldn't be the magnetic well blueprint, because what you're looking for seems like it would be more in a space of business. I have something that I haven't. Let me see if it's still on there, because I don't know if it's still on there or not. And I don't want to tell you when it's on there and it's not on there. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like the magnetic well blueprint will work best with you. To be 100% honest with you, I would need to hear a little bit more from you to let you know which one I feel like will be best. Because if I'm being really transparent, I feel like monetize like a muse would be best for you. But instead of you making that big jump, my strong recommendation is for you to send me, if you're wanting something, to send me a DM that says one-on-one, and for you to schedule a one-on-one with me. So my one-on-ones is $597. You can get that with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. But with that $597, you actually get a course that comes with, that meets exactly what it is that you need. So we're going to have our immediate session. We're going to have a follow-up session in 30 days. And in between that 30-day time period, I'm going to give you, this is the course that's going to support you with this. You're going to have 30 days of support where I'm going to be emailing you, and you're going to have 7 days of Telegram support during that time frame. So you get a lot of access to me, and we get to refine things, and I get to let you know like which one I feel like would absolutely be the best. Because what we could do, or what could end up happening, is we could meet, and I could feel like at first monetize like a muse would be the best for you, but it may be that you need the split. You don't necessarily need the fullness of monetize like a muse, which means that you would need to pay $1,500 for monetize like a muse. You may just need speak, write, teach, which is learning how to articulate your value to these women. Or you may actually need the monetizing system to show you how to go about getting the money from them. But I won't know that specifically until we talk, because I have a few more questions that I would need to ask you. So what would happen is that we would have that session. You would get the aligned course that works with you. We would work together for those 30 days, because I'm a person that needs to see results. So I would need to see how you're going to pan this out, because it definitely could work. It definitely could work if you were very, very clear on your target. If you were going after wives who wanted to up level their wardrobe to enhance the spice back into their relationship. Because here's the reality. People hit that 7-year peak, or, women, we go in this space where we always want to transform and we want to change. And you can go into a space to be able to support them without them losing their identity, but them being able to amplify what it is that they feel inside, to where it's an external experience, where they look exactly how they feel on the inside of themselves. Does that make sense? So it's definitely a way for you to be able to do it. You have to go after the ones who have the capital. And it's very, very possible. Okay. So send me that message, send me that one-on-one, send me a DM that says one-on-one. I'm going to send you a link for the $597. You can cover it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. And then you're going to get a link to set up your session. And then we're going to have our session. I'm going to tell you exactly what course works best. You're also going to get a quiz. Okay. I'm going to send you a quiz. It's a monetary, what is it? It's a monetary clarity quiz. And what it's going to do is that it's going to let me know and let you know what's your best energetic profile, what's the easiest way or the most aligned way that you make money naturally. it's literally going to eliminate your imposter syndrome within minutes, because you're going to read it and be like, oh, this is me. So I really could do business like this, and I don't have to act like anything else or act like anyone else. That's the $10,000 GPT that I created to be able to support my clients in understanding, like, this is something that you have where you can make money, make anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 using this skill set. So that's something else that you're going to get as well. Okay. So shoot me that DM, and then I'll shoot you the link, and then we can go from there. All right. All right. So let me see if we have any other questions. I don't think so, though. All right. Okay, guys. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing day. This was great. I'm going to put this on YouTube. It's probably going to run tomorrow in the morning sometimes, but I do think I am coming back tomorrow to go live as well. So, Lord willing, we'll see how that works. But I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing evening. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all could have been anywhere else. So I appreciate y'all being here. I hope that y'all have an amazing night. Rest well. Go to bed. Turn them phones off, that blue light. And stop taking that man-made melatonin. Don't piss me off up in here. Okay. Thank you, sis. All praises. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing night. Peace, y'all.